I think that Jaden Smith was right 6 years ago on Big Boy TV.
God, like, can we talk about, like, the political and economic state of the world right now?
Sure, it was a little bit out of touch coming from his mouth, but he had a point. Can we talk about the political and economic state of the world right now? So, I'm gonna do just that. Thank you, Jaden Smith, for giving me my voice. Here's my hot take about the political and economic state of the world right now. I don't think we should be making content out of debating college students. I don't think we should be debating college students. I know, crucify me, but preying on naive young people, taking advantage of a power dynamic, rage baiting, so you can clip out of context. I think it's all a bit exploitative and malicious, no? But hey, for some, that's just the name of the game. Charlie Kirk. You either love him or you hate him. Seriously, you rarely meet someone that feels indifferently about Charlie Kirk. Now, if you are unfamiliar with Charlie Kirk, he is one of the most prominent right-wing influencers on social media. He founded the conservative political advocacy organization Turning Point in USA, and is most importantly known for triggering blue-haired, snowflake, bisexual, probably liberals. But besides his political opinions, he's also known for his role as Mr. Boss in Smiling Friends. Charlie is a devout Christian doing whatever he can to spread the word of God. Like he doesn't look like the devil reincarnate himself. Actually, I think that's probably his method. Like, if there was someone that looks as scary as Charlie Kirk telling me to save myself for marriage, praise thy holy matrimony, I'm doing it out of fear that Charlie Kirk is going to eat me alive. And who's easier to scare than children at school? So grab your lunchbox, kiddos, because we're going on a field trip. Debating college students is genuinely the lowest of the low. It's not even low-hanging fruit at this point. The fruit's already fallen off the tree and hit the ground, and bugs are all over it, and Charlie Kirk is just there gnawing away at the fruit like he's Eve. But don't be fooled, because it was Charlie that put the fruit there. As I said, he is Satan reincarnated himself. Now, I've talked about debate on the channel before, and how pointless and ego-driven it is, and why there is rarely ever any mind-changing or learning involved. I won't rehash completely, but this is because debate inherently results in a winner and a loser. So instead of the goal being changing someone's mind, it becomes defeating them with your more correct point of view. And when you go to colleges looking to defeat young adults who are still basically children, as a crowd of your supporters cheer you on, it looks really pathetic. But hey, people get away with it because they can. And I want people to stop getting away with things they're not supposed to. Fear-mongering and misogynistic conservatives, as well as thieves, which is why I'm happy to introduce Aura as the sponsor of today's video. Guys, our data is being stolen and sold to the highest bidder. We are living in an age where federal regulations have not caught up with the dangers of technology. I mean, the average age of a member in Congress is 58. If you think that they even know what Wi-Fi is, you're kidding yourself. That is scary. And with data brokers constantly selling your information without your consent, it's hard to even know that this is happening, let alone what to do about it. Well, Aura takes care of the hard part by removing your information from these sites and keeping it that way. Aura is all-in-one digital security that is not just a VPN. Or it keeps you safe, your device is safe, your money safe, your family safe. And God forbid if any security is breached or includes $5 million in identity theft insurance protection. So not only is your backdoor locked, but your backdoor has another backdoor with 2 locks. Stop leaving yourself vulnerable and try Aura for 14 days using my link, aura.com/Saji, and thank you Aura for sponsoring this video. Charlie Kirk has essentially built his career on going to college campuses and clip farming and embarrassing innocent college students who just want to stand up to this small-faced man. But that's not the way he frames it.
Why do you, as like a professional pundit, think it's fair to come to college campuses and debate like college freshmen? Like, doesn't that seem like kind of unfair to you?
Well, hold on. I mean, let's stop talking down to college kids. I'm talking to voters, right? Or why don't you go bring a professor and bring him up to the mic?
Okay, well...
Charlie, maybe professors aren't debating you because 1, they understand how pointless it is, and 2, you're fucking reporting them for being pro-Palestine. Turning Point in USA reported on a number of college professors who have espoused blatant support for Hamas and have promoted anti-Semitic sentiment. I mean, Jesus Christ, you're not the police, you're not the government. In fact, aren't you supposed to be pro-small government? That doesn't feel very pro-small government to me.
It's time that we start talking to the next generation, not talking down to the next generation. And that's what we're doing.
Charlie, identifying the obvious advantage you have over college freshmen is not talking down to them. No, I think literally talking down to them is talking down to them.
I believe that the breeding, exploitation, and killing of animals for food when we do not have to is immoral. And obviously
Did you lose a bet?
No.
I mean, this guy can't even introduce his point without being ridiculed by Charlie and his crowd. So now he has to resort to kindly asking to be taken seriously.
So again, I'm serious. I would ask for a fair chance at a debate without shooing me off the mic or making jokes, please.
And what's funny is that this person actually gives really good points to back up their claim, which is the immorality of the exploitation of animals. His point is so good that Charlie actually ends up taking down this video from his channel entirely.
But soy is inherently estrogenic, right?
So soy has phytoestrogens. They're not actual estrogens. They work in the body similar to a SERM, which is a selective estrogen receptor modulator, and
suppress testosterone production.
It does not suppress the testosterone production.
No, you fucking idiot. You have no idea what you're talking about.
In addition, many professional athletes.
No. The consumption
are
of soy. The consumption of soy.
Yeah, I mean, most. In order to.
Let's get down to one last question, though, just from a very technical one.
Oh, Charlie, you spineless freak. Diverting the discussion when you realize you're losing. Classic. Even with a rigged debate set up in your favor every time, you still let a vegan beat you at your own game. Now, this is embarrassing for Charlie, but unfortunately, that's not the way it goes for everyone brave enough to step onto this evil debate show.
I was hate crime 5 times in one night, okay? Okay, for one of them, I was just walking, and then I see this truck full of 4 white men pass by me, MAGA apparel, everything, you know. They drove past me, and they were like, "F you, nigger, bend over, quick."
So they said the N-word on campus to you?
Well, yes.
Oh, yeah? Okay, so what happened to them when you reported them?
I didn't report them.
Oh, really? Okay, so maybe it didn't happen.
Okay, anyways.
I don't believe you. I'm being honest, I don't believe you. I think you're making it up.
Okay.
Sorry. If humiliating someone by way of rejecting their personal hate crime experience in front of a crowd and in front of cameras isn't talking down to someone, then I don't know what is. Compare that to this video of Charlie allowing a student to share his assault story in front of the crowd.
So you got punched in the face. You got punched in the face by a professor here. What happened?
So what happened, everyone, was I was walking to Valhalla to get my food exchanged, and PhD student Patrick Mahoney, as well as his accomplice Gerald Hoff, did not like the hat I was wearing. He charged at me. I had to stand, my ground.
Now that is not okay, and I do not condone it. But you shooting down the mere idea of a queer black person being hate crimed multiple times because you're afraid they're lying to push an agenda while you lie to push an agenda, that's arguably worse. I'm not doubting that this kid wasn't harassed, but you clearly think this suits your narrative better than a story where, God forbid, Trump supporters are the antagonists. But they are, because Charlie is curating a crowd of bullies and antagonists.
That is DEI. That is literally, yes. Yeah. You don't know. That's great.
You really think Charlie Kirk is trying to change someone's mind? No. He's trying to create entertainment, elicit strong emotions, incite conflict. And this brave soul that chose to come up to speak, again, brings up great points about the actual things we may lose as restrictions on DEI become worsened. But because the audience is so adverse to any opposing beliefs whatsoever, no one actually pays attention.
One part of DEI is literally giving women tampons or pads at work.
DEI is racial quotas. End of story.
DEI is not just filling racial quotas, as Charlie mentions. That is the contorted and oversimplified conservative definition. DEI is any implementation or practice that involves creating a more equal environment for marginalized peoples. So yes, free and easy access to feminine hygienic products in a work environment is DEI. Jobs should not have the option to provide those things. It should be mandatory. But this poor guy here can't even properly get through his point because of constant heckling from Charlie's crowd.
An example of DEI is basically your daughter, right? She decides to get a job, right? And unfortunately, it's that time of the month. She goes into the bathroom. Calm down.
Ew, dude, tampons are fucking gross. The groaning at the mention of tampons is so funny, dude. Like, these people don't give a shit about women's rights. They don't care about healthcare. Charlie's pretending like access to hygienic products aren't DEI, but it doesn't fucking matter. He doesn't care about that shit anyway. Charlie doesn't care about women or any marginalized individual whatsoever. That not believing a hate crime clip that we just talked about, yeah, that's not a one-off case. Charlie thinks that a woman removing consent in the middle of hooking up is a murky middle gray area.
Do you know why a lot of people probably don't report their sexual assaults and rapes?
Well, because there's a lot in the gray. There's a lot in the gray area. Alcohol's involved. It was consensual, and then it wasn't consensual. The girl
Consent can be removed at any time.
Okay. Again, now we're getting into murky gray area stuff, right?
No, Charlie, you can change your mind anytime you want. Because sex is not a one-person endeavor. It is in fact comprised of at least 2 people. And when one of those people decides to opt out, they should be able to. Sorry, this is getting away from talking about the college debates and is more so about Charlie's character, which is funny actually because the type of people that host these debates tend to just be horrible individuals. Which brings up the other person that I wanted to talk about, Myron Gaines, or Fit, of Fresh and Fit, who is giving the old debating college students a try because I guess debating unprepared and intoxicated women of his own intent wasn't easy enough for him. Now, if you don't know who Fresh and Fit are, they're a dynamic duo that sound like they're the mascot of a healthy school lunch program for children, which would be great. But instead, they have a podcast that justifies why it's okay to date basically children.
Men since the beginning of time have always found women between 18 to like 25 years old as the most attractive. It's just what it is. Men age like wine and women unfortunately age like milk.
They're alpha males of the manosphere who invite women onto their show just to talk at them about why they are inferior in every way possible.
Emotionally?
Answer the question. It's very simple.
Not taking care of, not cleaning up after themselves. I mean, simple shit.
He's
like
paying the bills in his own house.
I had a guy that
Whose
what?
predominant duty is to keep the house clean?
What
Yours.
if it's
Sexism exists to give women opportunities that they wouldn't have had before. That's a fact.
They look like the classic evil duo in every TV show or film, with Fit being the tall, slender, stocky one and Fresh being his shorter, pudgy counterpart. And their big evil boss, of course, being Andrew Tate. Except neither of them provide any comedic relief whatsoever, which would have unfortunately been their only redeeming quality. Now, I will say Myron tends to be a bit more extreme, and where Charlie is a sly asshole, Myron is more upfront with his assholery.
I really think your ideology is interesting. How do I apply it to my lesbian relationships?
Oh, well, you guys are useless to society, so.
Myron, by the way, is 35, and currently is not married, nor does he have any kids. So upon his argument, he is also effectively useless to society. But we're going to come back to that, don't worry. Myron's talking points and arguments sound so insane to the average person that he often gets people pretty riled up, creating quite hostile encounters between both him and the students that he talks to.
See, this is precisely the problem. Combative, assertive women that, don't want to necessarily obey or know when to, be quiet when I'm making a point.
Who the fuck are you to tell me to obey you?
I empathize with the college students. This kind of rage bait would send me spiraling. Everything Myron stands for is just infuriating to me. And honestly, we can infer everything we need to know about Myron based on just this thumbnail alone, which is from another college live stream, but very accurately represents college life. You have Fresh and Fit, obviously at the forefront. You have the hot girls being confused, which that's because they're stupid, but they get to be in the front because they're still hot. And then you have the liberal girls all the way in the back who they're clearly angry. This is also because they're stupid. Fresh and Fit make it very clear that all women are stupid and weak, and men are better than them at everything.
Men are better than women in almost every
That's
regard.
crazy. I've heard you say that before.
We're literally better than them in everything where we compete. That's why they have to have their own separate leagues.
I think...
Yeah, but nobody shows up at WNBA games.
Yes, because the WNBA is a perfect representation of all women. And the fact that it's its own separate and less popular league from the men's proves our inherent inequality, and thus the reason why me, man, am superior. Just so you guys know, this video is entitled, Triggered College Student Said This After I Said Women Deserve Less. Which, as a concept, Myron seems to really advocate for because, he chose it for the title of his fucking book. Why Women Deserve Less, by Myron Gaines. Every man alive today faces a paradox. Your hardwired, biological programming is screaming at you to get girls, get laid, and inevitably start a family. However, today's women could not be less interested in today's men. Yes, the paradox that has consumed all men for generations. Why don't women love me? Luckily, for me, us men, Myron Gaines has the answer.
When you leave women to their own devices, they date the best guys that they can get. And that problem's been exacerbated as they become more educated and made more money. So it's left a lot of normal guys out of the realm. So what I tell guys is you need a woman that's going to reciprocate that attention, because we're in a position now where they have all the leverage, and a lot of guys are over here courting and dealing with women that quite frankly don't deserve it. So when I say women deserve less, there's other aspects too, but that's what I mean, as in like dating. Don't simp on women that already get everything given to them. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, it does. It does answer my question perfectly. Thank you so much, Myron. Just so I can get it straight. So women don't love me because women have agency, and if they have free will and free agency over their own lives, they'll find the best guys that they can, and they're not allowed to do that because I'm not a good guy and that's not fair to me. Women need to be forced to settle down with someone like me, an insecure and ugly asshole, so that I don't have to spend my time improving myself whatsoever. If I may ask another question, Myron, my lord, what would life be like if women didn't have rights?
We'd be a better society, probably.
Oh, and why is that?
Well, we would have more nuclear families. We wouldn't have feminists. We wouldn't have strange progressive women that color their hair.
Oh, I don't have colored hair. It's a joke. Nice one, Myron. Real comedy really is back. So we would have more nuclear families and less feminists. So, I have to ask now, what's so important about the nuclear family and why do we need it?
Children are the future. And in order to raise children properly, you need a mom and a dad, right? You need that balance. So, and that can only really be done in a nuclear family. This is why I'm not a fan of gays adopting or lesbians adopting. I think, the child needs to have a strong father and a mother in the household, for the best chance at being a productive member of society.
Okay, that makes sense for the most part and seems pretty important to you. So you must be partaking in the nuclear family, right? Like that must be a priority for you.
Number one, I've had a girlfriend now for a few years, not 2 months. And it's an open relationship. I do what I want and she's closed on her end.
Wait, what? So you're in an open relationship, but only on your end. So you're not participating in the nuclear family. Why not? Since you clearly value it so highly.
Well, I have a certain goal that I want to hit financially before I, go ahead and have a family. I have some business aspirations, and I want to make sure I get that.
Shut up. Shut the fuck up. You're lying. You just want to keep having sex with other women. And that's fine if that's the lifestyle you want to have. But to then go and preach something completely polar opposite is so fucking stupid. You don't get to shame women and queer people for not having kids, period. But you especially don't get to shame them when you are into either. And you keep saying women shouldn't be sluts or sleep with multiple people, but then you're doing just that. Honestly, Myron, it sounds like you have a little bit of gender envy. Yeah. It sounds like you're jealous that according to your words, women can just sleep with whoever they want.
Only women could be sluts.
And you want to be one so bad.
So like guys will sit there and they'll be taking a girl on her seventh date. They've been talking for like 3, 4, 5 months, 6 months. And they'll sit there and be like, oh no, like I'm just building something up. But the reality is she's fucking some other guy, right?
So you're projecting, basically, that whatever perverted and warped ideation of the average woman you have in your head is able to get away with all this stuff and you can't. But I mean, that's what all of these grifters have in common, right? They have such staunch and firm positions about how other people live their lives that it usually comes out that they just couldn't come to terms with who they are.
We need to ban open homosexuality.
But hey, what do I know? Now, obviously, I think that men should be able to show affection and hug each other and kiss each other on the cheek without it being deemed as gay. I think men need to embrace their friends in a healthy way. But the Myron today wouldn't even stand 2 feet next to his best friend without it being considered gay. He won't even put an arm around Fresh. He's also changed his name. So he can talk all this shit he wants to about gay people, about trans people, but I mean, at this point, you're changing yourself so much to fit an ideal Western male stereotype that you're almost doing as much transitioning as a trans person. It's just so funny to me that Myron is clearly getting butthurt and resorting to personal insults because college students are getting to him. College students that he chose to debate because he knew it would be easy pickings.
Hello, sir.
Make sure to hit the gym as well.
Sir.
Hey, just being honest, man.
That was him coping, by the way, because the girl he just insulted absolutely cooks him.
Yeah, I'm not
That
saying
creature.
hello to you, so let's just skip the pleasantries. Thank you so much.
Thanks for coming up. I appreciate it.
Are your views on women based on data or personal rejection? Because on a podcast about 2 months ago, didn't you just say you got your first girlfriend and you're like 30?
Wow, she really thinks that's a known. And it's an open relationship. I do what I want, and she's closed on her end.
That's embarrassing.
That's embarrassing, huh?
Yeah. Because someone had to hurt you for the way you feel about women. Was it your mom?
No, actually, you know what's funny? It was my mom that warned me about these hoes.
So you and your mom are birds?
Me and my mom are birds?
Yeah. Bird brains. You have yet to answer my question.
Well, it
Is
sounded more like a
based on-
statement since we're both birds, right?
Well, are your views based on data or personal rejection?
Yeah, they're based on data. Obviously, experience, anecdotal, talking with almost 4,000 women now at this point.
Yeah, data, anecdotal experience. So not data at all. 4,000 people is not a large sample size to then be associating your data findings with the entirety of all women in the world. Especially if those data findings are just women are sluts. Great, you talk to 4,000 women. There are 4 billion of them. Plus, you try to get them drunk on purpose just so you look better.
Yo, you're done, bro. You're done. Kick her off. What the fuck? Nah, you're done, bro. You're done.
That isn't a very controlled environment, if you ask me. I'm sorry, but there's no way you see your podcast show as providing data to your research on gender, right? Like you sit in a room with your co-host berating women to then go to college campuses to debate students on your findings. Not only is it not impressive to debate college students, but you're not even providing any actual information or data and just admitting so. Charlie leaves a trail of slime wherever he goes, but at least he has sources, as biased as they may be. Myron, on the other hand, brazenly recites rhetoric with zero factual basis whatsoever. And oh my fucking god, I just remembered that he wrote a book. Listen, if the author's description of any book says that they do YouTube podcasting as the first thing listed, then they can't be considered an author. I make peanut butter and jelly sandwiches all the time, but that doesn't make me a chef. In fact, having a YouTube podcast should disqualify you from things. It should mean you're banned from specific public places. I get to hear all of your horrible opinions in one of the worst long-form formats available. Why would I want to hear them anywhere else? Debating college students, in my opinion, is the sign of a beta male. If you were an alpha male, hell, even a sigma male, then you'd be able to realize that your time is better used elsewhere. And maybe not proving to students that you're more intelligent than them. So you know what? I stand by what I said. I think Jaden Smith was right. And I think that we should be talking about the political and economic state of the world right now. But with people your own age. I think the world would be a lot better of a place if we limited political discourse to a 4-year age gap, so that scary old men stop terrorizing students and staff. Thank you, Jaden Smith, for giving me my voice.